Okay, so let us do our test, and let us go and open SPSS. Okay, everybody start SPSS and download the data file that we uh, that I have given, which is in the data files folder. You will see a file called as data.sem.csv. Okay, I have stopped sharing as of now. Everybody launch SPSS, and we'll do a hands-on session to see how do we compute reliability using the SPSS software. Have you all done it?
So should we import the Excel file to the SPSS?
Yeah, let me
Is that
just,
what you're trying?
we'll do it together. So I will share my screen now. Okay, so this is SPSS, and I'll just show you. So we had this data sem.csv. So this is how the SPSS window looks like, and people who are not familiar, I'm sure a lot of you are. So I have stored it on my desktop. Open another file, and in this you will see a lot of options. Just click on CSV. And you will start seeing data sem.csv. Done. So I'm going proceeding. So I'll just say open. Okay, and a window like this will open up, and it will say welcome to the text import wizard. Okay, does your text match a predefined format? So we'll say no, and we'll press next. Are your variables delimited? Yes, variables are delimited by a specific character because it is a comma separated version CSV. Are variable names included at the top of your file? Yes, because the first line has variable names. Okay, you can open. Okay, let us go ahead, and then I'll say next. Each line represents a case. Yes. First case of data begins on which line number? Line number 2. How many cases do you want to import? All of the cases. Okay, and we will proceed. Which delimiters appear between variables? So there is a comma, or there could also be a space. What is the text qualifier? There is no text qualifier here, so no. And you will start seeing that data now, data preview is coming, the EMP 1, 2, 3, on. Okay. Say next. Variable name. Data format is determined from values present. And then, so just leave it as it is. This is variable name. Variable names are fine. So we'll go ahead. You have successfully defined the format of your text file. Would you like to save this file format? No, not necessary. Would you like to paste the syntax? Now this is where I want to show you one thing. A lot of people believe that SPSS is a graphical user, has a graphical user interface, and it does not have a scripting language. But I would say, I would just like to show you something. So click on paste here. Would you like to paste the syntax? Yes. And then say finish. Okay. Now, the moment you do this, a file like this opens up. Okay. So let me. So Bhagyashree is. I'll go through this once more. So people who have done this, I will do this once more. But people who have got to this point, select all of this, and then you will see a triangle here which says run selection. Okay, and when you run select, okay, you will see that your data has been imported automatically. Okay, it has all this, and then there is a data view at the bottom, and then there is a variable view. In variable view, you will see all these variables, and then 26, 27, we don't need this. These are not required, so we'll just, even if you let it remain, doesn't matter. If you clear it also, it doesn't. It is fine, right? And I will save this. I will again go to the folder where I am working, which is desktop, data, this is data. Okay, so but what has happened in the process is, you see there is a syntax file that has opened up. You can also save this. So you say save as. Again, go to this folder where you are working. Okay, wherever you are working, and just give it a name. Syntax.sps. This is the extension. So now what happens is, this syntax file is useful because let's say you do something today and you close SPSS and you come back few days later. Now at that time you have to remember what options what options did I check, what options did I what options had I clicked at that time in order to get to this point. So a very good place to start with is to have a syntax file, okay, and start copying all the commands that you are running, so that when you are and this star and forward and backslash, this is a comment, okay, and you can use it. So let me start the process, because some of you are mentioning that you want to go through it again. Okay, so let us start again. You will see file, okay, then new data. Click on this, okay, so it will have, and then it will say open data. Okay, actually you don't, let me close this, you don't need, you can simply go and say open data. Okay, now when you come to this, you will have lots of options of files. We are trying to import a CSV file, right? So we will click on this text star.txt, star.dat, star.csv, and star.tab. So we'll click on this. The moment we click this, our file starts showing, right? So we open it, okay? When you open it, you will get a window like this, right? Now this says, welcome to the text import wizard. Does your text file match a predefined format? No. Go ahead. How are your variables arranged? They are delimited. They are, you see, this is how the file looks. These are variable names. These are values. Okay. So, Bhageshri, you will have to, let me just, if you say open, it's, you will have the file in the data files, and instead of file of type, just select the file type as data.scm.csv. Click on this, open, you will get to this window. No, it does not have a, then it says delimited. Yes, variables are defined by a specified character, which is comma or tab. Yes. Are variable names included? Yes, you see the first line has the variable name, so click on yes and go ahead. Then first case of data begins on which line number? Line number 2, so that is our data. Each line represents a case. Yes. How many cases we want to import? We want to import all of these cases. If you want to import only first few, you can change these numbers. We want to import all of these. Which delimiters appear between variables? Comma and space. So we are keeping both comma and space as. What is the text qualifier? There is no text here, so it is all data. Then what are the variable names? Remember, it has automatically assigned names to the variables. So you will have emp1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I'm giving this, I'm letting these, if you want to change, you can change, you can edit. I am keeping it as it is, emp1. Okay, and then you have successfully defined the format of your file. Would you like to save this format? No, I don't want to save. But would you like to paste the syntax? Yes, I like to paste the syntax. And the moment I paste this, you will see a syntax editor. SPSS syntax editor opens up. Now this is useful because next time I will simply open my syntax file, okay, and run this command. So I will select this and then run. And the moment I run, you see my data has been imported automatically. So the advantage of this syntax file is that next time you don't need to do all those clicking of buttons. Once you have run the command, you can save it, and then you will always remember what options did I try out that gave me the best result, so that you will not forget what switches I clicked, what buttons I was clicking at that time, and so on. So I will write a comment. I will say that this is the syntax file for the FDT on psychometrics, right? What is this command doing? This command is importing data from data sem.csv, right? So this command, now when I run this, select this up to the end and run it, your data will be automatically imported. So next time you don't have to worry which switches did I click and so on. Now the next thing is, this is the data view. Then there's another tab which is called as the variable view. Now the variable view is, you have multiple things here. So name of the variable, type is numeric. You can have multiple types, numeric, all of this. If you have to do analysis, then the variable should be of numeric type. Width, this is the width of decimals. There are no decimals. This is width of the, this is the width of the column, and this is width in terms of numbers. So how many numbers are there? So if I say 2, let us see what happens here. It will still remain, but if you see age here, it is 2 because you will have 2 numbers. So this is 29 and 29. That means it has 2 digits. So the width is number of digits. So it takes it automatically. Then decimals. How many decimals are there? There are no decimals. But in terms of tenure, if you look at, if you go to tenure, here there will be some decimals. 1.0, there are 1.5, right? 2.5 and so on. So there are decimal places also. Then labels, if you want to assign any labels, you can say empowering item 1, right? You can give them empowering item 2, just to, for your convenience. Then empowering item 3 and so on. Right? Values, well, it ranges from 1 to 5. So 1 is strongly. This is also something that you can do. It is not necessary. So even if you don't do this, it is completely fine. You can say disagree is neutral. So it's strongly agree. This. Right. So now these values are there. Missing values, there are no missing values here. If you have some missing values, you can code them. So I usually give 99 or 999, whatever. So you can decide, and then you can tell the tool that the missing values I have coded as 99 or 9 or multiple. You can have multiple codings for missing values also. So that is right. Or you can say discrete value. So you can give a range. Low is anything above 6 is a missing value. It can go up to any number that you can give, right? And if you want to have both discrete, so you can say I have coded range also, low and high, and discrete value also as high. But I will not, yeah. So for this, I have done. So I have range. So maybe it is. Maybe it doesn't have. Anyways, so you can code this missing values, and so usually I do it discrete values, and that is how. Column widths, it is basically the width of this column. If you change this width, you will see that the width automatically changes. So IGen now is 4. Okay. EMP 1, if I change this number as 6 or 5, right, then I will see that the width of this column has decreased as compared to this. Again, you don't need to do that. Right aligned, you want to keep the numbers left aligned or right aligned. If I keep it left aligned, then they will come here. If it is right aligned, then it will come in the center, right, and if it is centered, then they will all come in the this way. So again, you can just do it for, and then the final is you will have nominal, ordinal, and scale. So nominal, remember, it was only for gender. Ordinal was typically Likert, but we will keep Likert scales also as scale. This is basically the interval scale. That is what it is written. So all Likert scale also will code as this. So you can just copy and paste, and you can copy all of this and paste it, and then you can copy and paste, right, and save this. Okay, so we have done this, right? Is that okay? So we have got our syntax file also. Yes, I will save. Fine. Let me close the other editor, other data also. So now I have this data file. Okay, I will leave this as 8. I will code missing as 9999999. Okay, and then you can simply copy, paste. You can copy, paste, copy, paste. Okay, you can copy this. You can paste, you can paste here as well, and copy, you can paste. Paste, you can copy this as well. You can copy everything basically here in this. Right, and I'm copy this, and this is 8. Yeah. So we are done, and we will delete these 3. These are not our, so we'll just clear these. Right click and clear, and so our data file is ready, and we have. Right, so this is our data file on which we are going to do our analysis. Now I have also uploaded a survey file which I also showed you earlier. So the first 10 items, there are 3 sub dimensions. These 10 items are items of leadership scale. and it has 3 dimensions, each dimension having 3 items. So first 3 are empowering, next 3 are task orient, next 4 are task orientation, and the last 3 are leading by example. So in the data file, I have EMP123, TO1234, and LEX123, right? So now how do we do reliability testing? We'll go to analyze, scale, and reliability analysis. Okay, these are our item names. So if you see, we had given them some names: empowering item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10. This is my, I will copy them and paste it, put it in the 5 is also coded as, so that may be a mistake. Let me just see. Yes, this is a, uh, always, yeah, so that is, right. So this was a mistake on my part. I was speaking and doing things. So this is the right anchor names that we are going to. Okay, so what are we going to do? The first thing we are going to do, we'll test the reliability of all 10 items together. Then we'll test the reliability of the 3 subdimensions together, 3 subdimensions separately. So we go to analyze scale reliability and we select all the 10 items and put them in the window. I can give a label also, so leadership. This is the label that I want to assign to this reliability. And then if you go to statistics, you will see give us descriptors for items, scale, and scale if item deleted. So these are the 3 switches that you can click as of now. Okay, rests are not needed. Okay? And scale if item deleted. And continue and just click on. So if you click on OK, it will run. Or if you first click paste, so what will happen is it will click, it will paste the syntax, and if you open your syntax file, okay, if the syntax file is open, and I can just cut, I will close this and I will paste it here in the syntax file, and I will say that this is my reliability and for leadership items. Okay, so this is one way, or you just go to analyze, scale reliability analysis, click on this, right, and everything was what we had selected, and just click on, and you will see the output. Okay, see all of you, if you are able to reach this point. Okay, try it out. Let me just copy this, the change that we have done. Okay. Yeah, this is correct. So we have got our. Okay, so now let us look at what is the output that we are seeing. So the first one, it says, uh, and also everybody, if you look at this, just below this, uh, above this output actually, if you double click on this, sorry, you have actually this is the syntax that it has run. So even when you click, you can copy this syntax. So this is the data file on which it is working, and then this is the syntax reliability. So you can copy this and paste it in your syntax file. Okay, and actually this is the only command that we are going to work with. And if you click on this, run it, you are going to get the same output that we have got earlier also, right? So you can run it and then copy the syntax and save it in the file, or first paste it and then run it for, right? So theoretically I because I have made the scale, I know that there are 10 items and all 10 items are for leadership. Okay, so that is something that uh, we are we are knowing, and therefore we are testing it. So Cronbach alpha, number of respondents in this data file are 557. Cronbach alpha is 0.911. Then these are the items. So the mean of the item is 3.6 on a range of 1 to 5. What is the standard deviation? Then mean of this series of item 2 is 3.9 with the standard deviation of 1.009. Then 3.92 and 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. So a good scale, usually we should try that the mean of the item should be around the midpoint of the scale. So you see LEX 1 and 2, you have 4.2, 4.17, but this is okay. Uh, this is also a characteristic of a sample. This is just telling us what are the means of these individual series. Then look at this. What is important here is the second last column, which is called as item to total correlation. Okay, item to total correlation. So if you have, this is the item with the total correlation. That means if I have a scale of 10 items, what is item to total correlation? Let me just show it to you. If I have a scale of 10 items, okay, uh, I have I1 to I10, and I take the total, that is, I take the total, right, which is combination of I1 plus I2 plus I3 up to I10, then item to total correlation is nothing but correlation of I1 with the total. Okay, this series of I1 with the series of the total. Now what does item to total correlation tell us? Item to total correlation tells us that this item I1 is behaving similarly to the whole group of items. What will happen if this, for example, let's say the item to total correlation is negative, What will it mean? It means that this item is behaving opposite to the group of items. If it is low, very small, okay, then it means that this item has no correlation or very small correlation with the. So we usually look for items that should be medium to high in terms of item to total correlation when we are looking at item. So we are looking at these items. Empowering 1 has a correlation 0.59, which is good. And all of these, there's not a single item which is having small item to total correlation. It is also telling us, then the last column it says, if from this set of 10 items, I were to drop item 1, what will be the reliability? Now you see, we are getting a reliability of 0.911. It will say that it says that if item 1 is dropped, then it will go down to 0.907. So what does it tell us? We should not drop this item. We should not delete this item. Similarly, second item, we should not drop this item. We should not drop this. We should not drop. So every item, if you see, there is not a single item which if we drop from our set of 10 items, the reliability is going to go up, right? So that means all 10 items are good. If you get a negative correlation, item to total correlation, then what does it mean? Maybe there was a reverse worded item in your item set and you have forgotten to reverse code it, and therefore you are getting a negative correlation. Threshold for, there's no threshold for item to total correlation, but I would say anything above 0.3 or 0.4 is a good item to total correlation, and you will also get its evidence from this last column, which will tell you if you were to delete this item, will your Cronbach's alpha go up. If you get an item which if dropped will improve Cronbach's alpha, that is an evidence that that item does not belong to your group of items and needs to be pruned or needs to be dropped from your item set, right? So similarly, we can now say, okay, this was for overall. Now what will be the reliability for just the first dimension? So I select all of this and draw. So I'm just retaining the items of empowering dimension. So I call this as empowering. I leave these as unchanged. I say OK, and I get 0.856. Okay, this is my reliability. The valid cases were 500. There were no missing case here, right? Mean and standard deviations are these. This is the item to total correlation, right? This is the syntax. So I just copy it. I will copy the syntax and I will paste it here, and I will say the reliability done for empowering dimension, and I will save this. Next time I don't have to go to the tool. I will open my data set and I will just run it, and I will get the reliability, exactly the same result that I had got earlier. If I run the syntax, I will get. The beauty of this is that next time you don't have to remember what buttons did you click a week earlier or a month earlier or a year earlier to get to the results that you are getting. So you will get exactly the same results. So get into the habit of maintaining this syntax file, documenting it very properly. So just like these, keep giving comments so that you remember what is it that you did at that time, and therefore you can replicate those results later on as well.